Knowledge is to ignorance what light is to darkness. Today's topic is clearly different from the previous ones, as you will notice, dear friends. This thing which I'm holding with my hands seems to be simple, but it has many secrets and amazing features, especially for those amongst you who shall discover it for the first time in this video.
This tool has two different functions, a physical and scientific one, which can be discussed. This is what I'll try to do in few moments. And a second function, which is totally spiritual, supernatural and weird, and which I will explain briefly just for you to know what it's about. It was discovered a very long time ago in the human history, maybe by pharaohs, and maybe before their era. Pharaohs who were advanced technologically did use this instrument, so keep watching till the end of the video. You'll be amazed. Physical function. With these dowsing rods, in which there is no complex electronic system, you can detect underground water, buried treasures, valuable metals such as gold or silver. You can spot underground holes that can be starting points for great historical discoveries, like engulfed rooms which have been covered centuries ago by sand or sediments. Well, there are too many other uses. This is the way you use dowsing rods. First thing to do, hold these two copper rods and keep them parallel like this. The longest part must be heading forward. Your two elbows should touch your sides, I mean your body. This way, your forearms would be vertical. Next, start walking normally in medium speed on the surface you like to examine or explore. What happens is that as soon as you get near underground water, gold or silver or any other metal, buried bones, pottery or any material that is able to send an electromagnetic signal, the two copper rods start moving towards each other in this way. It's exactly like a two-winged door that closes automatically. The two rods unite and form a capital X. This is the sign we are searching for. In case you continue walking after this point, they start opening again to return to the initial position. That means they become parallel again. Now you must walk backward, but in a slower speed. You must fine-tune your position to stand exactly above the thing you are seeking. Your copper rods close again. Frankly, this is an amazing instrument. As a bonus, let me take this opportunity to unveil a real secret. You have the possibility to focus your search exclusively on one material or metal. To do this, you need to apply the specific code of that metal. This code is simply the number of times you tap with your rods on the earth before you start searching. Actually, this technique is kept for experts. Beginners need more long daily training. I remember having seen a chart with these codes on Google. You choose the metal you're searching for, pick up the related number of knocks or taps, take one of your dowsing rods, tap the ground at the number of times given by the code you found on the chart, raise the rod, wait for some seconds, and it will move slowly to show you where your metal is buried. Depth measuring. Advanced users are even able to calculate any depth within which certain metals are located. They use some precise techniques, which you also can discover if you make some research on the internet and, of course, if you are motivated and sufficiently interested by this science. Distant person weighing. I happened to watch an expert using one copper rod to weigh another person standing 4 meters away from him. What he did first was that he applied a unit code for the kilogram. This means if the kilogram code is 5, for example, he taps 5 times on his rod with his index. Next, he pointed at his friend with his dowsing rod and starts making a turn around. 1 turn equals 1 kilogram. Half a turn equals 500 grams. Strangely, just before reaching the right weight of that person, the dowsing rod starts resisting and turns at a lower speed till it stops. This technique is strictly for experts. Obviously, this wide world needs deep research, experience, and training, so the reward would be certainly valuable. Percentage measuring. Within the spiritual part, which I'll be explaining in a moment, you're able to concentrate and ask a question that may have an answer with a certain percentage instead of yes or no. For example, if you would like to know the filled percentage of a tank or container of any type, you should first know where the 0% point is situated. Is it on the right or on the left? Let's say 0% is on the right and that the dowsing rod moves automatically beyond the middle of its path and reaches 1/5 or 1 up to 5 of the remaining distance. We understand that the displayed reading is 60%. It's exactly the same way you read the fuel gauge in your car. There are other various uses of this great tool. Structure. Before making a simple experiment in which I try to detect underground water and gold, I take the opportunity to list the elements of this instrument. Well, it contains only 2 copper rods which you bend to form a right angle. Talking about dimensions, these aren't unique. There are no fixed dimensions for rods. They depend on uses and on user personal preferences. But there are some ideal dimensions which we will use in our case. We have a short part, which is the handle, and a long part, which is the working segment that displays the reading. It's 3 times the length of the handle. The length of the handle depends on the dimensions of your fist. This is to say that at the time when you hold the tool in your hand, you should keep 1 free centimeter over your fist, a way to allow your dowsing rod to move freely in case it receives any signal. Also, below your hand, you should leave 2 free centimeters out of it. These act as antenna extensions. Since you know the length of your handle, you're able to get the right measure of the moving part of the tool if you multiply it by 3. Generally, the handle ranges from 13 to 18 centimeters. Logically, the longer part should range from 39 to 54 centimeters. Coat hanger instead of copper rod. In case you don't have a copper rod, here's the solution. Use a coat hanger like this one. Take correct measurements, bend it to form a right angle. This solution works, but it's less successful than 99% copper rods. How do dowsing rods function? If you're astonished by the exceptional performances of this instrument at the beginning, that's normal. That's because of its simplicity and its big results. Maybe you are wondering what makes these rods move automatically. What's the energy involved in this kind of experiments? What's the secret behind it? Well, this is what it is about. If the buried object you're searching for, whether it is gold or any other metal, emits electromagnetic waves in all directions, this means that these waves reach your body, especially when it's close enough. Here, your body acts as a receiver, whereas your dowsing rods play the role of amplifiers. They receive signals and transform them into visible mechanical horizontal movements either to the right or to the left. Some say it uses electromagnetic energy, while some others say it uses piezoelectricity. It's a semi-hidden energy. It was being used widely by pharaohs. It's probably the force that allows them to cut huge stones with an extremely high precision. Maybe you have seen the remaining drawings and sculptures showing workmen holding some non-identified conical manual tools which they point towards things to cut or levitate no matter what their weight is. That tool uses this type of energy. Enhancement. After this short flashback into history, let's return to our dowsing rods. Each user may apply some change to boost his own tool. Some people added an additional handle. It's a copper tube in which they insert the shorter part of their tool. This way, when a user holds his dowsing rods, he puts pressure only on that handle and gives more freedom to the internal rod to move. Some others who want to boost the signal they may receive use copper tubes rather than rods. They fill one of them with phosphorus, in which they insert an electrical wire starting from the handle till the end tip of the longer segment. They connect a 9-volt battery to the wire at the tip of the handle. But the majority of specialists refuse this technique. They think it's useless since dowsing rods react to electromagnetic fields of various substances. Issues. Searchers may encounter a main problem. Dowsing rods detect signals coming out from any substance like underground water, metals, pottery or bones. But you are looking for only one of them. There is a solution to this mistake. You can filter the received signals. If you want your instrument to stop dealing with pottery, take a very small piece of the same material, which is pottery, and stick it to the longer part of your dowsing rods using an adhesive tape, for example. This way, even if you walk above pottery, your rods won't react. Another problem is that some rocks are able to emit strong frequencies that make your rods move to give you false information. These rocks may also contain small amounts of gold. Solution. Stick a small piece of that rock to your rod and it starts ignoring it. Second problem. This instrument doesn't work perfectly for everyone. On the one hand, some people may hold it, ask it to move to the right, it reacts quickly. On the other hand, some other people aren't able to make it move in the same way. It may move, but slowly and hardly. Spiritual function. Let's talk now, but briefly, about the spiritual use of this tool. Many persons managed to make demos in front of their cameras or in some European or American universities. They did experiments in which they could contact ghosts or dead persons' souls. How does that work? The teacher holds one of his rods, the way we have discovered. Using his clear voice, he starts inviting ghosts to communicate with him by making the copper rod move. That would prove their presence. Strangely, the rod starts moving after a period starting from some seconds to some minutes. This time varies depending on the user's skills. At the arrival of a guest, the teacher asks him if he is ready to communicate and answer some questions. But before asking him the first question, he asks him to set the position of yes. If the rod moves to the right, this means that a negative answer would be on the left. If you're using two rods, the answer yes is whenever your rods close or get closer and closer from each other. This means that negative answers are to be understood whenever rods open and get farther one from the other. This is the first instruction to agree on with the invited guest. You can't ask what your guest's sex is and wait for an answer like male or female. You have no screen to display that. Solution. You ask him, are you male? If your rods move towards no, you understand that it's a woman who is connected. You can't say, what's your name? You ask him, is the first letter of your name an A? The rod moves towards no. Then you test the second letter of the alphabet, which is B, and so on until you get a yes for a certain letter. Imagine you get a yes when you reach the letter F. You can then ask him if his name is Fred. He answers no. Then you ask him whether his name is Franklin. The copper rod moves towards yes. Now we have managed to get the first answer. We go ahead and ask the following question. Any researcher must think properly before choosing a question. He should avoid asking his guest about his own date of death. Religious questions must be avoided too. Why? Because you aren't sure who your guest is in reality. Anyway, you can't believe any answer since you are talking to an invisible creature. Your guest starts by giving you an identity that may be false. He can be a lying witch or demon. What happened in some cases is that at the end of a session, the guest claims having left the house, but in reality he decided to remain for a longer time to create problems and make the house owners suffer physically and psychologically. Dear friends, this is the end of the video. I wish you enjoyed it. Please support my channel, watch the other videos, like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget to activate notifications to be the first to get my future posts. Thank you.
أنتم الآن تتابعون قناة فقوس. إن أعجبكم المحتوى فادعمونا بلايك وتعليق. نرحب بكم للاشتراك في القناة. لا تنسوا من فضلكم الضغط على الجرس لتكونوا أول من يتوصل بفيديوهاتنا الجديدة.